we had a mission goal of making of getting 70 contacts every week, which was 70 addresses. We stop people on the street, get their talk to them, ask if we can stop by their house, get their phone number, their address, that sort of thing. And I stopped this. We just 10 people a day usually, which was, I don't know. It might sound like a lot. It might not sound like very many, but it takes a lot of time. It's just, I mean, you have to think of how many people give you their address of all the people you talk to, right? So you have to talk to a lot of people. And I talked to this lady named Elia, and she said, yeah, you can come by, and we taught her. I got her address, and then we taught her the following Monday, and it was an excellent lesson. In Preach My Gospel, it says that the longest lesson is supposed to be like 45 minutes. This was like an hour and a half lesson. It was, we explained so much to them. They were so interested. And that was more, I would say that was more of a following the Spirit sort of thing. I don't think that's a very good general guideline. But I'd say me and my companion and I, in the lesson, we just continued it. It felt right. Anyway, so we're teaching the lesson. Probably, I think, again, it's lasts about an hour and a half. We gave them, all the challenges, and read the Book of Mormon, pray about it, pray about Joseph Smith and if the church is true, and then if you receive an answer, will you be baptized, that sort of thing. And Monday, I never liked finding really good families on Mondays, because they have the whole week for their neighbors to talk to them and them to doubt, and Satan to do all his little things that he does to place doubts in their mind about if they should go to church and all these things, so it was a great lesson. But I was like, great, it's Monday. I'm sure their neighbor's gonna come over and just tell them not to go to church, and then they'll not they're not, because they have 6 days to change their minds. So maybe that was the wrong attitude to have. But we came back 2 or 3 days. It was pretty far from our house. We only went there every 2 or 3 days. So we came back 2 or 3 days later. I'm not sure which. Was to follow up with the lesson, and it's really funny. Like in training videos, like the investigators are like, "Yeah, I read, and this is how I felt, and I would like to be baptized," and that never happens, right? I mean, it's always like, "So did you read?" And they're like, "Well, I tried to, and I think I read a couple words." Or it's like, "Yeah, I read," and you're like, "So what happened?" And they have no idea what happened because they didn't actually read. That's one thing about Brazilian culture, is that lying is part of their culture. It's not a lie. It's a polite way to say no. And I'll remind you to talk about that later. But anyway, so they were great. Like we came and so you read, and like, yeah, we read, and then you never instantly you're like, okay, did you really read? And so so what happened? They described it pretty well. What happened? And so we're like, oh, okay, well, nice. And did you pray about it? Like, yeah, we prayed about it. And then it was a husband and a wife and their 2 kids. And they weren't married actually, but they were effectively husband and wife. And the wife had read, and she prayed, and she felt good. And the husband was like, well, here's what happened. I read the Book of Mormon, and I prayed about it. And I said, God, if you want me to be baptized in this church, I want a sign. In my mind, I'm thinking, oh no, because whenever someone asks for a sign, and it can get tricky because the Lord often doesn't work that way. But in this case, he said he went out on he worked at a sugarcane plant. He was on his tractor in the fields where he made roads for the sugarcane plant out in the fields, and he said he stopped his tractor in the middle of the field. No one was around. Knelt down on his tractor and then asked God for a sign. And if this is true, and you want me to get baptized in this church, then he said he would like a sign. And he specifically asked, I want a new job. And that day he got fired. It was like that day or the next day he got fired. And so he took that as a sign. And we worked with that family for 3 or 4 more months. I was in the air for 6 months, and we worked for that family for 3 or 4 more months. And eventually they got married and baptized. And so I take that story to me says quite a few things. One is if you're doing what the Lord has asked you to do through your mission president, He's going to put people in your way. And yeah, I believe that Ellie and I encountered each other, at that time, specifically because I was doing my part, and I guess that might be obvious, but the Lord helps you out when you're doing your part, and then also. I guess you can trust people to be true to the feelings they have and to spiritual promptings, and the spirit in that lesson was very strong, and they went and they prayed about it, and it was textbook, right? Textbook, and then they were married a few months later and baptized. So I guess you could draw your own conclusions from that, but I would say that the Lord works with us when we're doing our part, and that He is mindful of the people you're teaching.